just said that you believe life begins at conception. If there is legislation brought to you to ban contraception, would you sign it?
Well, I don't think that's going to happen in Mississippi. I'm sure they'll have those conversations in other states.
You're not answering the question.
As is always the case with things, well, that's always the case. There's so many things that we can talk about.
Okay, so he was asked, I think, a fairly important and also fairly simple question there, that being Tate Reeves, who looks more like a Tate than any Tate ever will. He's the governor of Mississippi, just salivating over the prospect of abortion being made illegal, but they're already looking forward to what else they can do. Women very worried about things like contraception also being banned. A simple answer to the question would be great, and he doesn't provide it. Except that he sort of does, Francesca, without saying as much. He clearly doesn't think it's a terrible idea. He clearly doesn't think it's beyond the pale. He's just moving on. There are many things we can talk about it. Making it so that if you buy condoms, you get locked up. That's just one of many topics we could transition into.
Oh yeah, I mean, we would only ban contraception that women use, but men, that's their choice if they want to use a condom or not. That's up to them. I mean, this is just incredible to me, and it also shows you, I think, his hesitation shows you that actually Republicans are not as excited about this clear win for them as they are letting on. And that is because Roe v. Wade is insanely popular. The majority of both Republicans and Democrats support it and support things like contraception, of course. And so they know they have to tiptoe around this, even though this is a coup for them. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, if you thought that this was gonna be such a win, if you really thought this is so important, why aren't you touting it, right? Why aren't you talking about it? And so I think that is a clue that they are vulnerable. Seriously, I think we need to not throw in the towel here and be defeatist about the future of abortion rights. We have to go hard in the paint on it. And the last thing I'll say is, with Jake Tapper, this is Jake Tapper, correct? Or is it
I believe that was Chuck
the
Todd,
other one.
actually.
Chuck Todd, yeah, Jake Tapper with like
sort of, by the way, asking a follow-up. I think he heard the criticism from Trevor Noah at the White House press correspondence dinner. But anyway, that was Chuck Todd, I think.
Yeah, Chuck Todd. Well, I guess I think that what sometimes the media does is, instead of sort of stopping people at the moment of like egregious human rights violation that they're in, they keep on asking about the next one. Yes, sure, to push back, but also a little bit. Remember with Trump's wall, it was like, so do you support building the wall? Like what, like 20 feet, 30 feet, 40, 50, no, 60, you know? And you kind of like, we get into this like, this inertia of fascism that you're like, wait a minute, what are we talking about anymore? So I don't fully trust someone like Chuck Todd on this.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and look, I think that we need to be able to do both things. And I think I made this point potentially on the main show on Friday, it might have been TDR. It's that we kind of need to be simultaneously horrified about the moment we're in and vigilant against the horrible moments to come. Yeah. We can't just accept and normalize the devastation that, by the way, hasn't even been done yet with Roe v. Wade. We just have very good reason to believe that it will. We can't just normalize that and then say, oh, but what if they get rid of same-sex marriage? But we also can't ignore the fact that they want to get rid of same-sex marriage and all of these other things. So we have to do both. This block sort of more focused on the forward-looking thing, but don't you worry, Francesca, in a little bit we're gonna transition to the fight to stop this from happening in the first place. This is mainly designed to counter what many in the right have been saying. I think demonstrating what Francesca is pointing out, that I wouldn't say that they're not excited about this moment. I think that they don't want to express that they're excited because they know that the numbers aren't on their side. And so they will continually yell at you. You might have experienced this on social media. You're being hysterical. Why are you talking about contraception and same-sex marriage and interracial marriage? We don't want anything more. And you've got Fox hosts saying, this isn't really gonna change anything. In some places it'll be legal and in some it's not. Why are you freaking out? Well, I want to explain why some people are perhaps right to freak out. We're gonna go through a few of the things that have been being bandied about on the right, and they are going to get worse and worse and worse. First, here is Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson saying, well, in response to having previously signed an abortion ban with no exceptions for rape or incest, says, don't worry, My heart goes out to women who become pregnant as a result of rape or incest.
Oh,
The
thoughts and
power
prayers.
that I have, exactly, thoughts and prayers as you raise the product
Sorry
of
you got
incestuous rape.
raped.
Exactly, thoughts and prayers. So
Send.
it's not just a ban. It's not, as the NRSC memo said, these are about reasonable restrictions. No, these are about the most radical restrictions that previously Republicans wouldn't have even hinted at 10 years ago. So you've got that. You've got, let's see. This is Jake Tapper in this case talking with Tate Reeves saying, you're gonna force women and girls who are victims of incest to carry the child to term. And he's like, yeah, no, we passed a bill back in 2007.
We've been done that.
Whatever,
Yeah.
it's done. And then there's so much more. We're just gonna quickly dabble through these. Contributor Rebel HQ Max Burns tweeted out some of these things we've talked about on the show previously, like Arizona Senate candidate calling for a state ban on condoms. Marsha Blackburn calling for contraception bans, except for married couples. That's nice. You get married, then you get to not have a kid. I don't know. Mitch McConnell talking about a possible national abortion ban. We'll return to that. The GOP in Missouri debating a bill to ban women from traveling out of the state for abortion. So they're no longer satisfied ruling over their own territory. They get to rule over all other territories. Louisiana GOP declaring life begins at fertilization, which means it will count as murder if you have an abortion. Or the Tennessee GOP making it a law with a $50,000 fine to just receive abortion medication via the mail. So that's fun. It gets worse from here, Francesca. Do you want to jump in first and give me your thoughts before we go to even more dangerous territory?
I just think it's amazing that Republicans treat women like an Indiana Jones goblet that was removed from the house and removed from her duties baking. And since then, America's been cursed. You know, we lost all of our manufacturing jobs. There's climate change now, and all we gotta do is put the magic goblet back in the spot. You just take women and put them back in the house. And once they're under the control of men and safely, under their spell, then everything starts to normalize. And Jesus comes back and we ride off on a unicorn. Like, it's just so insane to me. Who do they think we are? What do they think women are? Like, no, we just have to control them, and then everything's gonna be great. It's not gonna be great because of your asses. And once again, do we have to point out these are the same people these are the same people who are not expanding Medicaid in their states. Let me explain. Under the ACA, even though it was a trash bill because it didn't have single payer options, they expanded the Medicaid to say that 90% of states' Medicaid costs can be covered. What does that mean? Poor children, babies born, will be able to have free health care. And these same governors and legislators are the ones who are saying, no. We don't want free health care for babies, poor babies. I mean, that's all you need to know. That's all you need to know about them.
I think that the poor babies should have chosen not to be born poor, obviously.
Yeah.
And look, I think it is fairly clear that the Republicans know that people want that. They also seem to acknowledge that their pro-life credentials are a bit weak when they focus only on stopping women from having abortions and then don't give a damn about the kid, or either the fetus or the kid in terms of their health. They're not interested in funding either of those. Tate Reeves, in one of those interviews, said we need to reassure people that the resources will be there. And I think it was Jake Tapper was asking him, like, yeah, but isn't Mississippi like one of the worst states in terms of mortality rates at birth? And they don't provide any of that funding. And Tate Reeves has been in government at one level or another for like 2 decades. He has no record on this issue. Why would anyone trust him? Why would anyone trust any of them? This is about messaging, because although they have won thanks to the undemocratic nature of our system at so many different levels, they know that it's not popular and they want to keep their wins, but not suffer electorally as a result of it. But anyway, let's get to a little bit more of what might be coming. In addition to Louisiana potentially locking women up for having an abortion, there's a primary going on in a GOP runoff in Texas right now where that's a debate. One candidate, State Representative Stephanie Click, said abolishing abortion is important, but I think we can do that without giving women the death penalty. And she had to say that because David Lowe is challenging her, isn't sure at this point whether they should literally execute a woman for having an abortion to prove how pro-life they are. So now that's 2 states where politicians are talking about not just fining them or whatever, but literally executing them for exercising the rights they've had their entire lives. And in addition to that, as we alluded to, Mitch McConnell now openly talking about and totally blowing out of the water these arguments the right has been making that this isn't about us choosing for all women. This is about more democracy, sending it back to the states where the people can choose. No, it's not. Mitch McConnell says if the leaked opinion became the final opinion, legislative bodies, not only at the state level, but at the federal level, certainly could legislate in that area. He said it's worthy of debate. So yeah, it's possible. If and when the court makes a final decision, I expect everybody will be more definitive. But I don't think it's much secret where Senate Republicans stand on that issue.
Right, I mean, as long as our Republican orgies remain available, able to get abortion access, that's fine. Because that AOC dominatrix has got me pregnant at least 5 times. And as much as I want to have AOC's baby, because I do. I mean, it's like, okay, if you know anything, if you know my work, you know that I went to El Salvador to cover what happens when you actually criminalize abortion, right? The rights of the unborn is in the constitution in that country. Women are serving 30-year sentences. This is longer sentences than rapists and murderers for an alleged abortion. Because a lot of them didn't know they were pregnant and miscarried. So it's not even that they have abortion, which should be decriminalized and legal anyway, but there's no actual way for especially lawmakers and judges to determine whether someone spontaneously had a miscarriage or whether they were having an abortion. And so I'll just say, if you're a healthcare worker out there, if you are a physician, anyone, like this is holy work. Like this, like going into the field of actually like providing abortions is really critical. And if you're a lawyer out there or thinking of becoming one, your work is needed. I'm sorry, but it is going to be, I think it's too late for me to go to med school and or law school, and I don't have the money. But that being said, youngins in the chat who I'll help you out with your student debt, man, because we need you.
For more political news, breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.